I'm Jeremy. I go by Jeremy the DJ, Jeremy Mullen. Born and raised here in Lorain County, Ohio. Spent my first 18 years in North Ridgeville. Graduated in 1994 from Elyria Catholic High School. Go Panthers. Transplanted to Elyria in 94. I've been here ever since. I raised 3 kids. Currently, I think they're 27, 25, and 22, all graduates of Elyria High. Sure. I spent most of my working life prior to being a DJ in sales. So I learned how to talk to people, how to read a room, and I've always been a musician. I've always played in bands, and over time I acquired a lot of equipment. One day, I think it was 2009, a friend of mine walked up and said, "Hey, would you, DJ my wedding?" I said, "Well, I need a wireless microphone." And he said, "Well, I'll buy you a wireless microphone if you DJ my wedding." I said, "Perfect." So I got like a $400 wireless mic to DJ this wedding. I'd done a couple in the 90s with some friends as a helper, so I kind of knew what I was doing. I don't know, I'd been to 40 or 50 weddings, so I just kind of figured it out. Went up there, did the wedding, had a great time, went really well. Again, I had all the equipment because I'd been playing in bands, so I had lights, I had speakers, I had everything else I needed. And when I was all said and done, I had 3 people came up to me asking for my card, said, "Man, you're great, how long have you been doing this?" And I said, "Well, that's my first one." So from there, I started doing about 5 or 6 weddings or DJ events per year, along with playing in bands. Once COVID hit, of course, the entire industry shut down. Then just on a random day, shortly after everything started opening back up, I was sitting over at the Unplugged Brewery right here in Elyria, and my oldest kid, Alex, looked over to the manager at the time and said, "Hey, you guys have a trivia guy?" Guy goes, "No, I want a trivia guy." Alex said, "Oh, my dad can do trivia." He looks at me and goes, "You do trivia?" I said, "Sure, I can do anything." So I scheduled to start doing trivia the next Tuesday. I went home, thought about it, designed a trivia night, went out there, and did my first, what's called DJ gig as Jeremy the DJ. And again, everyone was like, "Wow, this is great. How long have you been doing trivia?" Well, my first time. And within a month, I was DJing 3 nights a week. And within 3 months, I was to the point where I had to decide I was either going to DJ full time or I was going to have to quit my job. I couldn't do both. So I decided to quit my job. I put in my 6 months notice, slowly worked my way out of my job, and slowly worked into becoming a full-time DJ. Oh wow. So I don't know if everybody knows this or not, but my grandfather was Mr. Mullen of Mullen Incorporated. Just long story short, we never owned the company, so I did not grow up rich. Just gonna throw that out there. I do have to work for everything that I have. But my grandfather did well for himself, and he was a very outgoing person, and he taught me to be very open and very sincere and really enjoy the company of everybody around me. I also got to do cool stuff, like he had an airplane. He randomly picked me up some weekends and fly me to different cities for breakfast. Like pick me up, all of a sudden we go to Pensacola, Florida and have breakfast, and he'd fly me back, and man, that was a cool time. And I didn't know that everybody's grandfather did, and just randomly pick them up in an airplane and take them out to breakfast. So that was kind of neat. My father owned carpet stores my whole life, so I learned how to be in charge and kind of how to lead people from him. My grandparents on my mom's side were good old boys and girls from West Virginia, so I always had a very, I don't know how to phrase this, I hold family very dear, so when I meet people, I basically treat them like I would treat my own family. One of the things that I've always done with all my gigs is when I'm at a gig, everybody that comes to a gig, I treat them like my family or like my best friend. So when they leave, they don't just feel like they had a good time, but they feel like they're coming out to see a friend, or they're coming out to support their family, which is one way I've been able to build up a following and a lot of different people coming to all of my shows throughout the years. absolutely. One of the biggest challenges I had was staying ahead of the curve with equipment. I like to make sure that I have not just equipment that works, but I want to have the best sounding equipment out there. When I first started, I had three things that I really wanted to accomplish. Number one, I wanted to have the best sound. Number two, I wanted to present. I wanted to look better than most, if not everybody else. And I wanted to have myself and eventually the rest of my DJs MC better than everybody else. So we wanted to sound good, we wanted to look good, and we wanted to perform good. To me, that seemed like a recipe for success. I found that there were a lot of shows I would do, and people would come up and they would just say, "Wow, that really sounds good." And I was like, "Well, isn't it supposed to?" Which led me to believe that maybe not everybody's show sounded good. So I was doing one thing better, right? So that was number one. Number two, as I started gaining popularity, it was difficult to turn down shows. So I already had a Tuesday gig. Someone else was like, "I want you to do trivia at my club." Great, when? On Tuesdays? Well, I already do it on Tuesdays. I can't be at two places at once. Then I met my first, DJ that started working for me, Jimmy. You guys know him as LB. One day I was doing my Tuesday night trivia, and I look over and he's just standing there behind the rig going, "What you got here?" You know, in Jimmy fashion. And we went through and I showed him everything I had. He goes, "You know, I went to sound school." I said, "That's cool." And then when I finally had an opportunity to truly be two places at once, he was basically my first choice to come in and run my other rig. So I was able to split doing a trivia on a Thursday night at the Doghouse on the north side of Elyria, while still having him run the karaoke night at Unplugged. And that then I was to the point where, wow, if I could not just do this one night a week, but I could do this multiple nights a week, I could really turn this into a business, not just a hobby or not just something for me to do. Also with consistent work and hopefully no dead times. What a lot of performers run into is you'll have a lot of work, say July, but in August you don't have any gigs. So you make money and then you don't make money. So I have been able to have consistent income coming in week after week, month after month, and now year after year. And not just one, but I think we have 6 of us working here now as DJs. Think about that one for just a second. So pros, when there's work, there's lots of work. When you have a big crowd, it's really easy to feed off the crowd and put on a good show. And also when people show up, the clubs and the bar owners are happy with you, and everything works well. Cons, finding new work can be difficult. It doesn't matter how well you're referred in there. You also want to be careful not to step on other DJs' toes, because all the DJs tend to like each other and work together and refer clubs back and forth. So the last thing I want to do is go out there and start, stealing gigs from other people. So you almost kind of have to wait for somebody to step away from somewhere before you're able to step in and pick up another show. So it takes time to build up that rapport and build up new shows and new places to work. Another con is going to be when you get to a show and there's not a lot of people. It's actually pretty difficult to perform to 5 people the same way you would perform to 50 people. So one thing that I've worked very hard at doing, again, being a salesman for 30 years really helped me be able to do this. I've also done a lot of role playing in different situations so that I know how to handle it when I get there, whether I've been in it or not. So I can perform the same to 5 people or to one person as I can to a room of 50 or 100 or 1,000, however big the group is. So if you put me in front of 1,000 people, you put me in front of one person, it's the same show. It makes no difference to me how many people are in front of me. I'm doing the same thing either way.
Okay.
Number one, one is probably going to be being my own boss. You know, I make my own hours, I do my own thing. Um, some people like to think that maybe, you know, wow, you just get to go out at night and party all the time, and man, I want your job. How do people stand there? How do I get your job? You know, well, 30 years to learn how to do it, 20 years to amass all the equipment, fix your credit so that you can buy all the new equipment to sound good, and then go out and find the shows and keep them. So there's a lot going on to get there. But one of the most rewarding things is when I'm done with the show, and it sounds silly, but you know, sometimes I'm just doing trivia, and when I'm done, like the crowd applauds, like you're at a concert. Like those, I'll get a standing ovation at the end of a trivia night, and it's just like, wow, I did a really nice job. All of the people that follow me now online. When I first started this, and bands I've done through the years, I'd be lucky to get, you know, 100 followers, 150 followers on a social media platform. Pretty much my family and friends, and virtually nobody outside of that inner circle of the few hundred people that I knew in my life. Now I find that, and this is really cool, I'll walk into Costco and someone will be like, hey, Jeremy the DJ, and I'll be like, hey. You know, I'm like, I wonder who that was. Somebody has hit me up about doing a gig at doing something at the Apple Festival, and they're like, oh yeah, we've been to your trivias, and you know, I've sang your karaoke, and I didn't recognize the person, but they've been to multiple of my shows. I had somebody the other day say, hey, it's my boyfriend's birthday. Would you mind giving him a shout out on his birthday? I said, yeah, no problem. So I went online, popped on Facebook, gave him a little, you know, happy birthday, decided to give him a little happy birthday trivia question, which I thought was cute. So I looked up the pictures of him, I remembered who he was. He always wears this Nirvana shirt, so I did a Nirvana question for him. And then the girlfriend responded back, thank you so much, that was really cool. Apparently they started dating some months back, and since they started dating, one of their first dates was coming up one of my trivias. They've been coming to my trivias ever since, so their relationship is, my trivia is part of their relationship. And I tend to get a lot of repeat business and repeat customers. That's probably one of the most rewarding parts of it for me.